Hey guys, long time no talk. I wanted to get back into YouTubing with a check-in video. So lately we've been up to a lot. We actually got a new egg donor. There had been a donor that we had our eyes on for a while and she became available, so we got that contract signed and she did a retrieval. We got PGTA testing back and we've got embryos to use from this donor, so that's really exciting. We still have some embryos on ice from the last cycle with our first donor, and then we have even more embryos on ice with the new donor. So right now we're just waiting to do a transfer, waiting for my cycle to be able to do that transfer prep. So that's super exciting. Also been dealing with some thyroid stuff. After the last transfer, my thyroid levels really went all over the place, in my opinion and in my IVF doctor's opinion. And I know partly why that is. In early pregnancy, the baby does not have a thyroid, so any levels of T4, I believe is the thyroid hormone, they're getting that from the mother. So that's why the TSH, thyroid stimulating hormone, can go up, because thyroid stimulating hormone will go up when T4 is low. And I already have hypothyroidism, so I take levothyroxine, which is an artificial T4. So doctors like your T4 to be between about 1 and 2.5 when you're trying to get pregnant or are pregnant. So mine got up pretty high, above 5. So that was scary in early pregnancy, and obviously with that happening last time, my IVF doctor wants to make sure that my thyroid is all good this time and that we're closely monitoring it. So my tests have been good over the last several weeks and months, but I got one random test last week, or it's been 2 weeks ago now, but recently my test was between 1 and 2 for 3 tests, and then just randomly had a test that was 3.9, and that was weird, and that was frustrating because I hadn't really changed much. But then I got it retested again just less than a week later, and it was back to 1.8. So who knows? We think that it might have been just a bad test, like a fluke. So that's what we're going with. That's what the endocrinologist is going with, and the endocrinologist, or the IVF doctor, is just leaning on the endocrinologist. So like, it can happen a lot. Like, I've been noticing in doing IVF when the clinic is out of state, there's a lot of coordination work on my end, and there's also a lot of coordination work on the patient end, my end, when my IVF doctor is wanting like input from another one of my doctors. And it's not a huge deal, it's just like something else to manage. And I wish that there was like a system for this within the medical community. Like, I wish that they could just message each other, because sometimes it feels like I'm playing telephone between these doctors and I don't know anything, you know what I mean? Like, I just know what they tell me. So yeah, like I don't really know what the system would be. I feel like the doctor that I would want the most is a doctor who would put together what these different specialists could say, because I see the IVF doctor, see the OBGYN, got a liver doctor, endocrinologist, like there's all these different people. So it'd be cool to have somebody to put it all together, but that's just not how things are. So it is what it is. I think it's a good opportunity for me to advocate for myself and inform myself on what's going on with my health. So yeah, that's been going on. It seems like my thyroid stuff is good. Again, I'm not a doctor, but something I learned if you are also dealing with thyroid stuff. And I knew part of this, but I didn't know the other part. So when you take thyroid medication, you shouldn't have it with any food or anything caloric basically, but also take it apart from any other medications. I've had doctors tell me in the past, and maybe they just didn't know or didn't care if it didn't matter with that medication, but you should take the thyroid medication completely by itself and then wait 30 minutes to an hour before taking anything else, because especially anything with estrogen in it, which your IVF transfer prep medication is going to have estrogen, and right now I'm on birth control pills to prepare for a transfer that has estrogen too. That can mess with the levothyroxine T4 stuff. So that's obviously important to know. And it kind of seems that I'm not trying to put blame on anybody, but I feel like there's several people that could have told me this, but it's just it's one of those things that just kind of slips through. But usually when you pick up something at the pharmacy, and whenever I pick up birth, for the transfer prep, I was on antibiotics, and I was on, I picked up birth control as part of it too, and they're like, oh, the antibiotics kind of wrecked the birth control. I'm like, it's fine. I'm trying to get pregnant. But I've picked up birth control and levothyroxine together for years. I took birth control and levothyroxine and nobody ever told me that. And maybe it doesn't make a huge difference, but it does make a difference. So I don't know. Not an expert again, just things I'm learning. And yeah, so there's that going on. And then I thought that this transfer would be different because COVID wouldn't be a big deal, but guess what? COVID's still a big deal. It's different than it was earlier in the year. I went out to California in late January, really early February. I think we were there for 2 days in January, but it was before most people had access to the vaccine, and it's just different then. But it's still obviously on my radar right now because my clinic will test prior to transfer, and that would cancel the whole thing if I were to get a positive test. So I did decide to get vaccinated, so I'm not concerned necessarily about getting super ill, though I know that it could potentially happen. It's not a high level of concern, just a possibility, just getting into a car accident is a possibility too. But luckily the vaccines are super effective, so I'm not worried about getting extremely ill, but it's the highest level of effectiveness with the vaccine is to not be severely ill or hospitalized from COVID. It is still a possibility to get COVID, and that would interfere with my transfer, which I don't want. So I've been pretty cautious, and I'm pretty sick of being cautious, to be honest, especially now this time around. Less people are cautious, and I know we're not supposed to care what other people think of us, and we're not supposed to do things just because other people are doing them. Like, I know all that, but also, like, I want to be normal. I want to be social. Like, I live in a new neighborhood. I like want to make friends. I want to do all this stuff. But on the other hand, I also recognize that getting pregnant and having a healthy pregnancy are a priority and worth sacrificing for. So that's what we're gonna do, basically. So it's just, we're just kind of taking things day by day. It's trying to, I don't like want to, I wouldn't even say like I'm afraid or scared or worried. Like, I think just I'm aware and I'm cautious, and I'm trying to like mitigate my risk. For example, one of my family members got married last weekend, and I did still fly on a plane, went to the wedding, went to the reception, but I wore a mask pretty much the whole time that I was there. Was this like the popular choice? No, it wasn't, but that's what I did. And I got a COVID test late this week, about a day and a half ago, and I did not get COVID. So I'm proud of what I did, even though it wasn't like, I didn't feel cool about it, but carry on. I was there with my family, so it's not a big deal. Yeah, I don't know. Maybe I'm rambling a bit, but I just kind of wanted to check in on what's going on, and that is handling my thyroid health, getting this new donor, and trying to figure out COVID while planning for a transfer. I will say that this time around is, in regards to COVID, is much less stressful. It's also much less stressful knowing that we have 2 rounds of retrievals, and like, we didn't get very many embryos from that first cycle. So knowing that we have like more of a back, like more on ice this time, is comforting too. It like takes the pressure off in that way. And like, really, I should have never felt the pressure. Like, we're doing a donor, so like we can always do another donor cycle. Like, the option is there. Like, is there a lot that goes into a donor cycle? Like, time, money, like all this stuff? Yes, but it's still possible. So but still, like, there's these little things. It's like, even if I'm not actually like thinking of it, it's just like latent stress, like things that are like in the back of my mind, like not fully present, but something like that I can't, like, that I know deep down, and like I'm subconsciously considering and everything. So anyways, just a chatty little catch up with you guys. Thanks so much for watching, and if you want to hear more about my donor egg IVF stuff, then please subscribe and feel free to like or comment too. Thank you. See you next week.